So since we watched the clicks video on Illuminati, I want to move on to Oz Media's videos. So this was September 16th. And I know that since then, Oz Media things have been getting better for Oz Media, which is great. I just want to watch this in order to learn. Maybe I haven't seen some info. I want to keep learning about the situation. Right. So as of today, the goal was $4,000 for the housing fund and $47,000 has been raised. So hopefully things are getting better for Oz Media at this moment, but I want to go ahead and watch this video. All right, so let's get started.
Howdy everyone, I'm Oz, in the flesh. No cartoon avatar this time. I'm making this because I'm giving an update to both my regular viewers and those who are here for something a bit more specific. To my regular viewers first, I hope this video can help explain where I've been over the last 3 years. For those who are here for the Illuminati drama, I do have some news, and I'm making this video for full transparency, as I believe this is important in a situation like this. First and foremost, I need to make everyone aware, for reasons that I hope this update...
I'm just thinking it sucks that you have to, uproot everything to, make a response to this stuff. I'm sorry, man.
For my safety, I need to put a short and temporary pause on production of my video on Illuminati. The video will still, of course, be produced. I just need to put things on a lower burn and return to regular content for the time being, for many reasons. Some of them being the honest truth that I can't afford to continue at this rate, both fiscally and physically. Illuminati has taken this to a legal front, using the courts because of how poorly things went for her on the internet. As a reminder, for those of you unaware, Illuminati started a fight with a lawyer on Twitter, accused him of copying her style, which then led to other content creators and past collaborators speaking out about their past interactions with her. Illuminati
she went kind of nuts and started suing everyone.
Twitter and brought it onto YouTube, where she would then post a suicide note of one of her former employees for the world to see as an attempted own. Now, full transparency, I was one of the creators who spoke out against her, despite the fears and hesitations that I had.
Good for you.
I put a lot of things in my life on hold to produce this video, ending up with nearly 110 pages of a...
Wow. I know it's the right thing to speak out, but it's also very scary. She's pretty, she's not going to forget it.
A manuscript which details as much of what I can. And let me tell you something. Converting this monstrosity into a video with its accompanying 5,000 screenshots has been one hell of a monumental task for me, a one-person team, to embark on. I want to get everything right, or more of I need to. And I need to ensure that everyone's stories are factual. But to do so, I need to pump the brakes and not rush this out for the sake of being able to not stress about my next meal, or my next bill for that matter. Because of this,
that would take a long time.
And more importantly, I want to continue my regular content so I can afford to live day to day. There is another factor to all of this, a factor which Illuminati has caused, or as I will be calling her throughout this video, Blair. For full transparency, which will be explored more in my future video, Blair and I dated. We were a couple for a decent chunk of time. This puts me in an ungodly complicated situation.
She probably tried a lot of power tactics on this guy.
Doing everything that I can to try and separate the relationship drama from the public drama, as in the process of dating her, there are a lot of things which I bore witness to. Before anything else, I want to firmly state that this update is being made with the understanding that there is a likelihood that this will end up in a courtroom. I say this because things have been escalating quite a bit behind the scenes, and the stress has certainly been rising. What I haven't
seen it yet. I don't think that there's been any
from the person who's my ex, former employer, and prior colleague, Blair is in the process of currently foreclosing my home because of this stress of Blair.
Okay, your ex, your former employer, and your colleague. That's already a hard situation to navigate. It would be 20 times harder with someone like Blair.
Blair is in the process of currently foreclosing my home because of this stress of Blair taking my home from me. I need to pump the brakes and change directions so I won't be homeless come Christmas. Because That's when Blair set my home to foreclose, right before Christmas. And yes,
Mm.
Blair has the power to set the foreclosure sale. This situation was a fear and hesitation that I had from the beginning.
So bad. I'm laughing because I just can't believe somebody's doing this. But this is an older video. Good news. It was able to raise the funds to keep his house. So we don't have to be worried.
As far back as April, a day before my thread went up, that I was mortified that if I spoke out against Blair or even dared to cross her, that she would retaliate with taking my home from me. When I did speak out, as many of you are aware, Blair sent me a cease and desist. A cease and desist, by the way, over a Twitter thread which she apologized for not only in her video, but as well as privately. Despite this, I persisted on working on my video, continuing the production of something which started as 20 pages, then slowly grew into the novel that it's become.
That means anything.
Throughout this entire process, I had the fear that once I released this video, Blair would drop the hammer on me. I've lived the last 4 months of my life with the looming threat of Blair's retaliation. And truth being, from my understanding, she could have done this as early as June. As to why Blair waited so long, I'm honestly unsure. To me, it feels like Blair is taking every course of action that she can to prevent this video from being produced. From legal threats to trying to take my home, which wouldn't be surprising, considering Blair's alleged white-collar crimes I intend to expose with evidence within my video.
Ooh. Legal threats don't mean anything in this situation, right? Because it would only matter if Oz is lying. And I'm guessing that Oz is not lying. So you don't have anything to worry about, I believe. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in the legal space. It's just, I've always heard that, you know, if you're telling the truth and you're not like totally harassing someone over and over and over and over, there's nothing they could do.
Before any of this, however, I am taking the proper legal channels and speaking with the right people to elevate this down the needed path.
Good for you. Yeah, you should.
It would be unwise of me to reveal further information. I can only assume this is one of the reasons Blair is so determined to shut down my video's production. And to repeat myself from earlier, every word that I speak within this update is with the explicit understanding that this video may end up on the floor of a courtroom. In order for me to fight this, regular production of my content is needed to help fund the production of this.
I keep saying that, but like, yeah, I really do think it's scary. Like all that pressure.
Video. Yeah. The reason why I'm making this update is so it's understood that I'm not just ignoring my obligations and responsibilities and suddenly hiding behind a flurry of videos in hopes that people will one day forget. The reason why this video has taken so much time as it has is not only am I a one-man team producing this, but I'm also continually uncovering more segments to the story and hearing more and more voices that come forward to speak their side of things. Interviews, questionnaires, screenshots, the works. All from a number of individuals.
These types of investigative videos are like heavy lifting. I can't believe that, you know, he's doing it himself. A lot of these people that do the investigative type videos have a whole team of people, or at least like 3 or 4. This is just like
during this process,
a massive project for one person.
The video will continue to remain under production. I'm not stopping this because of her retaliation. While she did successfully give me pause, I do fully intend to complete this video. Now, let's talk about how Blair is even able to foreclose on me. What put her in a position of power beyond
this is what I don't know.
A mortgagee, which in my eyes is something even worse. As a quick note, Blair's name is not on any of the original documents related to my home. I'm providing all of this information to give full context to the GoFundMe as I feel it's more than deserved, as honestly, I would feel guilty as hell putting the video on pause shortly after it hit its funding goal, followed by me just continuing to upload regular content without warning. More details will of course follow with the main video, as I do not have time to fully expand on everything. As I briefly stated previously, Blair and I dated. We started when I was 20 and she was 28. And currently, I'm 23, almost 24. In the beginning, Blair walked me into several poor financial decisions. My naivety caused me
Oh
to
my
believe her
goodness.
reassurances that I could handle all of the financial obligations being dropped.
And really, like, that's a slight power dynamic, right? Like a 28-year-old, 20-year-old. It's not like, of course, it's not illegal or anything. I'm just saying it's like, it could be kind of a power dynamic. And in this situation, she definitely enjoys being in power. And
On
look
my
what
shoulders by
happened.
someone more experienced in life than I was. Why these
Yeah.
obligations were placed onto me? At the time, Blair had bad credit, so all of the purchases, loans, everything was being placed in my name. This included the car that she purchased, then revoked from Wonderstruck. I was on the loan as a cosigner only
Really? What?
because of my credit at the time. Eventually, though, the financial responsibilities that I incurred would stack up on me, building a mountain of monthly debt that would lead me into several financially tight months and
Mm-hmm.
eventually just breaking. This would lead me to asking Blair, my partner, for
So
financial.
she has bad credit. Like, that's the number one sign that you shouldn't sign with someone else. Yeah, if they have bad credit, they haven't been paying their bills.
Financial help for things such as my home, which she was living in. Help from my partner, who at any given time would be making up to 30 times my monthly income. These amounts of
Oh,
assistance would be added to a ledger of debt. And I want to clarify again, Blair wasn't my bank. She wasn't my landlord. She was my partner at this time. This ledger also includes things such as a non-refundable design fee and land deposit on a multi-million-dollar custom home that she threatened to break up with me if I didn't agree to proceed on this with her,
oh my
as
God.
well as other financial expenses that I honestly can't account.
Multi-million? Really? Like, why not just 1 million? I mean, or what, this is just
For, nor even
so
come close to this
manipulative.
number when digging through my own finances. This ledger would creep into the range of $180,000, an insurmountable amount where I don't even understand how she got there. That number ballooned higher and higher, the number ever increasing, and I never questioned it out of guilt for needing help. Guilt from her telling everyone, from her friends to my friends to her employees to
Ugh.
hell, even her Discord staff about my finances, oftentimes
Oh,
unprompted.
God.
Guilt involving the fact that everyone I interacted with on a day to day basis looked down on me for her words towards me. My own partner, the person who was supposed to be my other half, was actively putting me in a position where she was chipping away at my mental health.
I wonder how many things that she said that he doesn't know about. She seems like a very opportunistic person. She probably just said anything to his friends, to her friends, to their mutual friends. Like, how sad.
I was
So messed
afraid to
up.
tell anyone what was happening because she had convinced me that I was a parasite, that I
Aw. You are not. You are not.
I avoided telling anyone who could have helped me see what was happening out of fear of further confirmation, more eyes looking down on me. Something to note, when you're around Blair, your world revolves around her. In my case, my home was hers, despite her name not being on it. I had no
How is
friends
that?
out in Colorado.
Wait, I don't understand. How is that? I hope that's explained. God, it's like she just wakes up every day and figures out how to mess up somebody's life.
A state that I moved to at the behest of Blair. Only Blair's friends were out here. All of my connections had to be approved by her. I wasn't allowed to be friends with people she didn't
That's a
like,
great way
such
to
as
control
Click and One
someone.
Topic, or even Wonder, once that bridge was burned and reduced to cinders. I was even in a position where my finances were nearly entirely controlled by her, from what debts I took on to later being the fact that she was the person who signed my paychecks. All while my world was painted to me in a light where I should be grateful for her generosity. It wasn't until recently when I explained my situation to my parents, my friends outside of Blair's control, that I began to understand just how perverse my life had become for nearly 3 years.
Yeah.
And I want to add, I
It's like a
tried to pay Blair back in
brainwashing.
any way that I could, by the way. I felt indentured to her by this debt she had hanging over my head. Hell, I
Of
even took a
course.
position in her company at a lower pay to try and pay this debt back, offered to work with her in her crypto farm for free to pay back the debt. Anything
Crypto
that I
farm.
could to try and make myself feel useful. While I worked for Blair's company, I helped improve it in any way that I could with my knowledge of how YouTube worked. I was able to assist in the push for Blair's channel to make the sudden and stark rise into a new payout range of 6 figures a month, all while I was being paid not even
A
enough to
month?
get by with my monthly bills.
Her channel is basically not hers. It's just only the people behind it, which is really sad.
And Blair was very aware of my finances. I sacrificed
I'm
a
sure
lot
she
of my
was.
time to try and recoup this debt while also trying to help save her channel. Because in 2021, due to personal and private reasons expressed to me by Blair, this would lead me to up and almost entirely abandon my channel throughout the year of 2022. More of this story later because there are more pieces. But this led to the end of 2022, where Blair would take advantage of not only my financial strife, but both my legal and financial illiteracy in December of that year. When I was 23 and Blair was nearly 31,
This is so.
Blair, with her lawyer, would create an honestly quite confusing legal document for me to sign where I would agree to pay back her debt. Blair,
Did you
being the
sign
person
it?
who signed my checks, knew that I couldn't afford legal representation. Blair also knew that the $2,500 that she was having me pay monthly towards that debt was almost as much as I was making monthly.
$2,500 a month just on the debt part. That's a lot. That is a lot of money.
For her. This would mean that I could barely pay for anything else in my life other than the debt that I owed her.
Oh, yeah.
Everything I made working for her was going right back into her pocket. Blair would bring me to her lawyer's office, put me in a room alone with the two of them, with papers in front of me. Papers which I foolishly signed for a myriad of reasons, ranging from Blair expressing that this would mend our relationship, that it was the right thing for me to do, that this would also protect her legally and prevent her from getting into trouble with the IRS. She also would describe to me, and while I can't remember if this exact word was ever used, she essentially explained to me that because she used company funds to assist me, that she had committed embezzlement. And by converting the amount that I owed her into a loan with her company.
What do you do? What do you do in this situation?
This would save her skin legally. Now, to most people,
just
that
a nice
word
person
may not
again,
have
a nice
lot of meaning.
person.
But to me, when I was 11, my mother was incarcerated for this exact crime, a remnant of the 2008 financial crisis. This taught me a very harsh lesson from an early age. But more importantly, Blair was aware of this past of mine. Whether this was used against me, I can't say for certain. But the idea of another person I loved being...
I would be willing to bet yes. I think that when she becomes friends with someone, she starts writing notes just in case, you know, because the day that they aren't friends anymore, she will start profiting. That's what I think. It's just like too many things fit together, right?
But this time for my actions, words cannot describe the guilt that I had. As I briefly stated earlier, Blair used this debt as a promise that this would specifically help mend our relationship, not our friendship, and put us on a better foot. It wouldn't be until a few weeks after signing that document that I would learn that she had already moved on, and had almost everyone in my daily life keep this fact a secret from me. Blair used all of this, promises of reconciliation.
Well, she probably said some crappy things. I mean, maybe it's not their fault.
And other factors, which will
she
soon
seems
be
to surround herself with nice
as
people.
Means to get me to sign a document known as a deed of trust. I wasn't aware of the power that this document held, what it does, what it allowed her to do. Again,
a deed of
trust. Afford legal representation. She knew this. This document gave her the power to foreclose if I was unable to make a monthly payment of nearly $2,500 for nearly a decade. Blair knew that even with my income working for her, that this wasn't possible. So, it feels as though she knew that I would be destined to fall behind, that this outcome was inevitable. If the home is foreclosed or if I decide to sell, Blair gets an immediate payout, and it's because of this that I'm hesitant to take the easy way out.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that there's just not enough equity in the home, that if this were to foreclose upon, Blair would still be out money, and she could then sue me further.
So what can you do? What can you do?
If you're looking for an easy point of evidence, as you can see with Wonder, Blair has a habit of taking advantage of younger men, 8 years younger than her, and their financial illiteracy for her own personal gain. Originally, I assumed that I would have the video produced by now, but unfortunately, I overestimated my abilities and also had to deal with the legal and financial stress which followed. It's obvious to me that I need to focus on myself and not destroy my well-being for this video. This, of course, leads me to the GoFundMe. Not a penny of what has been raised will be used to repay Blair. I will be using the aid given for legal fees and only necessary expenses. The purpose is to aid me in potentially breaking out of what I can only call a manipulative situation with several lanes of legal red tape in front of me. This money will be used to secure a legal retainer and any legal cost. And once and only once the legal front is secured, will I use the funding to help with monthly finances related to securing my home.
Okay. Now we understand. So the GoFundMe did really well. We have to remember that. We don't have to feel bad. I really want this person to come out on the other side. And I'm sure most other people do too, right? Everyone.
Finances, that's a good which thing. Are not tied to Blair in any way. I also want to add that I'm not trying to escape any debt that I may rightfully owe Blair. I just don't want to fucking lose my home or lose it from retaliation. For further future transparency, I intend to provide updates with my GoFundMe, which will include progress updates and invoices when applicable. I intend to be as transparent as I legally can throughout all of this. And of course, I wanted to thank everyone for their patience with me. And I felt that this update was more than deserved for everyone who's been here so far. Thank you all. Also, she took the furniture.
This is like, it's like almost as bad as it can get with an ex, it's like, but she did this though. Like she surrounds herself with these nice people, not naive, just kind of, I'm just going to keep saying it, nice, wanting to help, cares about their friendships, their relationship. And then she just does this kind of thing just to manipulate, just to control. Well, the GoFundMe is still up. If y'all want to go help, it is in the description of this video, and I'll leave this video in the description, my description, if you want to go watch it and go subscribe. And yeah, I think the next video I will go over is the Wonderstruck video, because I know absolutely nothing about that. I know that I did know that Oz Media raised a good amount of money, but I know nothing about this Wonderstruck situation. So I'm really curious about that. And let me know what you think in the comments. If there's something I missed or something that I should know more about the situation. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.